Hello viewers, welcome to my channel, The English Angel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Today we'll discuss a very important question, that is influence of Gandhiji on Mulk Raj Anand's novel Untouchable. It's a very important question which comes in various exams because Mulk Raj Anand was greatly influenced and impressed by Mahatma Gandhi. And this question will cover under two main headings because this will help us to grasp the effect of Gandhiji on Mulk Raj Anand more clearly. Did Mahatma Gandhi actually have any role in the editing of the novel? Did he affect the actual draft of Mulk Raj Anand's novel? Yes, he affected the actual draft of the novel to a great extent. It was Mahatma Gandhi who asked Mulk Raj Anand to reduce the novel by more than 100 pages by omitting the love story of an untouchable sweeper boy, Bakha, and many other changes were made on Mahatma Gandhi's suggestion. This will cover under the heading of Gandhiji's influence on editing the novel. Now, the second major part is Gandhiji's speech on untouchability in the novel. So, this novel includes a speech delivered by Mahatma Gandhi at a place called Golbagh. Although this speech never happened in reality, as the story is an imaginary representation of real problems, real situation and conditions. So the speech presented here in this novel is built up by Mulk Raj Anand, which is deducted from the views presented by Mahatma Gandhi in his autobiography and in various articles written by Mahatma Gandhi time to time. The views presented in the speech helps us to understand the influence of Mahatma Gandhi on Mulk Raj Anand. What Mahatma Gandhi thought of and what Mulk Raj Anand thought of Mahatma Gandhi, how he took his personality in his perception, which ideas and thoughts of Mahatma Gandhi affected Mulk Raj Anand, and what Mulk Raj Anand thought of Mahatma Gandhi's magnificent persona. To understand it further, we have to understand the background and experience of Mulk Raj Anand. We have to understand Mulk Raj Anand's thought process before meeting Mahatma Gandhi so that we know what changes were brought by Mahatma Gandhi in Mulk Raj Anand. Mulk Raj Anand had stayed in London for good about 21 years from 1924 to 45 for his education. And he was greatly influenced by the progressive movement of literature of Western Europe. And the believers of this progressive movement, they believed that the writers of literature must address and express the real problems and the real situation of the toiling masses. They must express the aspirations of the suppressed and deprived classes. They must highlight the problems of this working labor class which is suppressed. And the concerns and problems must be raised in their writings because unnecessarily they have been forced to live a life of hopelessness. So, being a firm believer of this ideology, Mulk Raj Anand gave voice to the downtrodden people who are forced to live a life of self-pity and helplessness. So he wrote his first draft that was named Bakha and it was of 250 pages and he started writing it in early 20s in Dublin. The title of the initial draft of Mulk Raj Anand's expression of rage over the social evil of untouchability in Hindu society was given Bakha. Since Bakha is the protagonist, he is the main character of the story. That's why the initial draft of the novel was given the title of Bakha. It was not Untouchable. When Mulkraj Anand had finished with the draft of his novel, He happened to read the story of an untouchable sweeper boy whose name was Uka, and it was written by Mahatma Gandhi and published in Young India. He got deeply impressed with Mahatma Gandhi and he requested Mahatma Gandhi to let him meet him. When Mahatma Gandhi allowed him to visit him in his Sabarmati ashram, Mulk Raj Anand went to meet Mahatma Gandhi in 1929 April and he showed his novel to Mahatma Gandhi. And when he showed his novel to Mahatma Gandhi opposed few presentations which were there in the narration of the story. He did not like the presentation of an untouchable sweeper boy named Baka as a lover boy and as an intellectual, specifically Bloomsbury intellectual. And this intellectual part and this love story part, it was spread over more than 100 pages in the novel. So Mahatma Gandhi asked him to remove the unnecessary elaboration of love and intellectuality and asked Mulkraj Anand to present a straightforward pamphlet on Harijans to highlight their real problems. Now, what is Bloomsbury Intellectual? Bloomsbury Intellectual is a group of writers, philosophers, and intellectuals who lived, worked, and studied at Bloomsbury Place, a place called Bloomsbury, which was near the Cambridge University, and they have studied at Cambridge University also, most of them. So, this is Bloomsbury intellectual term. Mahatma Gandhi suggested to cut down the pages which presented Baka as a lover boy or a thinker and a dreamer. Let this be a simple story highlighting the problems of untouchable sweepers. This was the suggestion of Mahatma Gandhi. So Mulkraj Anand followed it and he cut down the novel by more than 100 pages, and the novel, the final draft which came for publishing, it was of 150 pages. So the novel which we see today, it was edited on the suggestions of Mahatma Gandhi, and the final novel which came in the hands of reader was of 150 pages with the name of Untouchable. Now Mulkraj Anand wanted to stay in Sabarmati ashram also to understand it further, to understand the ideology of Mahatma Gandhi further. And his willing stay at Mahatma Gandhi's ashram shows us that he kept Mahatma Gandhi in very high ranks, in very high books, and he was greatly impressed by his persona and made all the necessary changes which he suggested to Mulkraj Anand. And after staying there, Mulkraj Anand realized the true meaning of life because Mahatma Gandhi allowed him to stay in Sabarmati ashram by laying down few conditions that included that Mulkraj Anand will clean the latrines once in a week and he will not drink and he will not think of his girlfriend. After following such strict discipline at Mahatma Gandhi's ashram, Mulkraj Anand realized the true meaning of life, what life is all about, and the value of simplicity and sincerity. He readily accepted the terms of stay laid out by Mahatma Gandhi, and he edited the novel as per his suggestions. That shows that he was greatly impressed and influenced by Mahatma Gandhi, and Mahatma Gandhi played a very important role in the final draft of the novel Untouchable. The second part of the answer is discussed in a separate video.